Global News Update. I am Abiodun Mohammed. Russia said on Friday that two unmanned Ukrainian naval drones had tried to stage an overnight attack on its Black Sea Navy base at Novorossiysk in an incident which two sources told newsmen had seriously damaged a Russian warship. The attack prompted the civilian port, which handles 2% of the world's oil supply and to export grain, to temporarily halt all ship movements before resuming normal operations, according to the Caspian Pipeline Consortium, which operates an oil terminal there. Russia's defense ministry said in a short statement that the Ukrainian attack had been repelled in the waters outside the base and that the two sea drones had been destroyed. It made no mention of any damage, but a Ukrainian intelligence source said that the Olenegorski Goniak, a Russian Navy landing ship, had suffered a serious breach and could not conduct combat missions following what they said was a joint operation by the Ukrainian Navy and the SBU intelligence service. Separately, a source with knowledge of the port's operations said a large Russian naval vessel had to be towed ashore because it could not move under its own power after being damaged. The source, who did not name the vessel, said oil and grain loadings were still taking place at the port, which resumed normal operations hours after the attack. Two U.S. Navy sailors have been arrested on charges of handing over sensitive national security material to China, U.S. officials said on Thursday. Petty Officer Wenheng Zhao, 26, was charged with conspiracy and bribe-taking in connection with taking nearly $15,000 in exchange for photographs and videos of sensitive U.S. military information, the official said. U.S. Navy sailor Jinchao Wei, whose age was not disclosed, was charged with conspiring to send national defense information to China in exchange for thousands of dollars. Assistant Attorney General Matt Olsen told reporters in San Diego that because of the men's actions, sensitive military info ended up in the hands of the People's Republic of China. Zhao is accused of sending his Chinese handler plans for U.S. military exercises in the Indo-Pacific region, electrical diagrams and blueprints for a radar system on a U.S. military base in Okinawa, Japan, and security details for U.S. naval facilities in Ventura County and San Clemente Island outside Los Angeles, according to U.S. officials. Wei is accused of disclosing information about the USS Essex, an amphibious assault ship where he served, as well as other American warships, including dozens of technical manuals laying out the Essex weapons, power structure, and operations. Donald Trump pleaded not guilty on Thursday to charges he orchestrated a plot to try to overturn his 2020 election loss in what U.S. prosecutors call an unprecedented effort by the then president to undermine the pillars of American democracy. Special counsel Jack Smith, who has overseen the federal investigation, looked on from the courtroom's front row as Trump entered his plea before U.S. Magistrate Judge Moxila Upadhyaya. In quote, "Not guilty," Trump said, emphasizing the first word. The arraignment, lasting about half an hour, took place in the Washington courthouse, half a mile from the U.S. Capitol, the building Trump supporters stormed on January 6, 2021, to try to stop Congress from certifying his defeat. It was the third time Trump has pleaded not guilty since April, with months of pre-trial legal wrangling expected against the backdrop of the 2024 presidential campaign, in which Trump is the frontrunner for the Republican nomination to take on Democratic President Joe Biden. Niger's ousted president, Mohamed Bazoum, has called on the international community to return his government to power, warning of devastating consequences for the world if the coup against him succeeds. In an op-ed in the Washington Post, Bazoum, who was deposed last week by the military, said the United States and the rest of the international community must help his country, in quote, "restore our constitutional order." This coup, launched against my government by a faction in the military on July 26th, has no justification whatsoever, Bazoum said in the column published on Thursday. In quote, "If it succeeds, it will have devastating consequences for our country, our region, and the entire world." Bazoum, one of a dwindling number of pro-Western leaders in Africa, said the West African country has been a beacon of hope in a region plagued with violent extremism. Niger, which gained its independence from France in 1960, has been viewed as one of the reliable partners of the West in fighting extremist groups in Africa's Sahel region. Poet-turned-militia leader Maung Saun Ka, one of the most prominent figures fighting for democracy in Myanmar, says his armed group plans to start carving out territory in the country's heartlands to confront the junta moderately. Maung Ka said the move is a key strategic aim for his Burma People's Liberation Army (BPLA), now that it has gained training from allies and battle experience in the country's borderlands. Most BPLA members are Buddhist Burmas, the ethnic group that accounts for 2/3 of the population and dominates central Myanmar, where government institutions are based. Maung Ka said the BPLA want to work with the People's Defense Forces (PDF), the armed wing of the National Unity Government formed from the remnant of Aung San Suu Kyi's administration that is seeking to supplant the junta. The PDF is comprised of hundreds of militias, many of which are mostly Burma. The Myanmar-based Institute for Strategy and Policy estimates the BPLA has some 1,000 members, a figure that would make it one of the country's biggest new militias. The BPLA's growth owes much to Maung Ka's skills in building bridges with other armed groups, according to a key ally and 2 analysts. That is the size of top accurate global news updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy weekend.